All right, we are live right now. I realized that this was supposed to be live on Teaching Tuesday, but I did have a group in there that we really had some one-on-one time. So I do want to do this ClassFlow. This is a Teaching Tuesday session. It's a free PD session for Greater Clark County teachers that we like to do on Google Hangout so that we can share it, because hashtag sharing is caring. I am going to do a screen share. And you are this there. So this is ClassFlow. If you go to classflow.com, you're going to see up here you can sign up or you can log in. I'm going to log in. At Greater Clark, we have Google Plus accounts, so I can log in with my Google Plus account. I'm going to click that. And it's going to ask if I can have online access. Yes, offline access. And it's going to load. I also have another tab up here so that you can see what it looks like from the student's point of view. classflow.com/student will get you there. And here are my classes, and here are my lessons. So I'm going to do an inferencing lesson, just so you can see what that looks like. So I'm going to hit play, and you can enter your classes in ClassFlow, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But right now, I just want you to show you what it looks like. So here's my starting slide. I'm going to enter the class. I'm going to go up here, and I click here, and this is how my students enter. It's going to be the same code every time. So QQTF8. So my students will enter the code QQTF8 and their name and join. The first time you do the student, it will ask them if it's their own device. If it is their own device, they can hit yes, and it will save their classes. If it's not, if you have a class set of tablets, or if you're in a computer lab, they say no, and that way it doesn't hold that information. So this is what the kids see when they're waiting for you. So I can click this again, and when I click it, it will show you who is in class. This is my first slide. I want to ask the kids, what does it mean to make an inference? And I'm going to send out want them to text me that answer. So I'm going to click this, and you'll see my polling is in progress. And now I can enter. What does it mean? I've already forgotten what the question was, but I can click down here. What does it mean to make an inference? To make a guess based on what I know. And typing wasn't my strong point. So I'm going to send that up here. And then as a teacher, this is my progress bar. I can actually click on that, and it will tell me what my answers are. It can also tell you who has not answered. If you click here, waiting for responses. So you can say, hey, Jorge, you haven't answered yet. I can also see it in a bar graph or a pie chart. Of course, there's only one student here, so it's not super exciting, but it will get exciting later. So I'm going to give this card to my students. I'm going to stop this. So if I go over here, now this is what the students see. But I want them to see this card, so I'm going to send them the card. It's a little share icon. And now as a student, I see that card. We're going to talk about that. What is she feeling? And this time I'm going to use a word seed. So I'm going to click the word seed, and polling is progress. And so as a student, I enter a word or a phrase. Again, I can click the card. Let's see what's she feeling. I want a really good word. I want to say bored, but I'm going to say she looks a little frustrated. What's going on? Frustrated. And I'm going to send that. And then from a teacher, all of us have answered. And the word seed hasn't been working. I did contact ClassFlow about that because they're supposed to pop up here. They don't bubble anymore. They do list. So that will look different. As soon as I stop it, go back here, and this is what the student view looks like again. So we just made an inference. She looks bored. Actually, we drew a conclusion, but we're not going to split hairs today. All right, I want to know how you know that. So I'm going to send this card to the students. I'm going to say, you know, you guys answered board, and so this is what it looks like from a student point of view. How do you know that I want you to draw on the card? So I'm going to go over here to my teacher tools. I'm going to start a poll, and I'm going to click creative. And what that can do is it's going to allow me as a student to draw on the card. This is how I know. She's got her hand here. Look at her eyes. They're empty. Empty eyes. Her mouth is a straight line. Her hand's not even near her pencil. Look at this kid back here. He also looks bored. She's probably reading her telephone underneath her desk. Okay, and so I'm going to send that card. And so now as the teacher, I can click here, and here are my responses, and I can flip through there. You can actually add the cards to lessons. I love this as a secondary teacher because you can teach a lesson 6 times a day, and in first period you can really have somebody that gives a really good exemplar, and then by 7th period your lesson's just so good. I always feel bad for my first period kids because 7th period always gets, oh look, ClassFlow just answered my question. They're working on it. So that's what that looks like, and we can go through more. I can send cards out to kids, so now they're waiting and not ask questions. But let's say I'm going to go down here. Let's say we've asked how he's feeling, and I want to know if true or false, is his reaction appropriate? And the kids will usually say that, oh, he's at work because he's wearing a tie and there's something in the background. So I can send out a true or false, and kids can answer. But they can also change the answer. So 100% true. What if I said he worked on Wall Street? They might say, well, we say false because he's yelling into the phone. But if I say, what if I say he worked in Wall Street? Maybe that's a little more acceptable on Wall Street. And so kids can change their answer, which is nice for anticipation guides when you're doing agree, disagree, and things like that. I'm just going to check and make sure that we're good. Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that I wasn't, you know, videotaping my chin or anything. Okay. So I'm going to stop that. And this is what it looks like from the student point of view. Now I want them to read. I want them, this was a 2nd grade. I used the iPad app in a 2nd grade classroom, and it went really well. The kids super enjoyed it. And so I sent this out to them, A, B, or C, and asked them to make some inferences. So I want them to do multiple choice. I can have up to 5. So this time it's only 3, so A, B, or C. And I'm going to choose B. Oh, I got it right. I didn't even read it. Awesome. So I'm going to go here, and here's B. I can actually hover over, and it'll tell me who answered it, and if there are different kids who answered, obviously different things. But if you don't hover, then it's anonymous, and you don't have to show who answered who. So I'm going to stop this polling, and there's another one that has a little longer. And so as your teacher tools, you have creative, word seed, true, false, yes, no, don't know. Multiple choice, you could do a Likert scale, text in, or a number. And so those are your teacher tools and what it looks like from the student point of view. So let's go back to lessons, and there are 3 ways that you can create lessons. So up here are your tabs. Here's lessons. I can click this one, and I can just create a lesson within ClassFlow. That is how I did that inferencing lesson. I just created it in ClassFlow. So here's my card, my very first standard card. I can change the background and rename it. And here's my first blank card. Again, I can change the background, and I can duplicate it. And that's how I did the girl with the hand, you know, asking the different questions over and over and putting a stamp on it. I just duplicated that card and edited it. You can hide the card, edit questions, which we're not going to do in this session. This is just an overview. Here is your text box. So you can create a text box and make it different sizes, and you can type in it. Here are your functions up here. You can draw, and you can enter hyperlinks. And there are also web resources You can search for web resources. Here are my resources. So these are the things that I've already pulled in, and it holds them in here so I can come back and get these anytime. So these are all of the pictures that I've used. You can also pull things straight from your Google Drive if you've logged on through your Google account. One of the other things I love, I'm going to go back real quick to lessons and play this lesson. One of the other great things about ClassFlow is the ability, especially for the Rise Rubric 2.5, to modify instruction as needed. You can add, we're just going to resume what we were doing here. You can add cards in the middle of it. So if you're down here practicing, and especially in math classes and things like that, and your kids need a little more practice, you can just add a card, pick up your pen, start writing, and then you can send that out to them. If I had students, you could send that card out to them. So it's very, you know, you can plan as much as you want, but it's also very on the fly. And we did do those assessments on the fly, but you can plan assessments in ClassFlow as well. So we've created this lesson, but there are other ways. You can import a flip chart, which is great because anything you find on Promethean Planet or anything you create, an Active Inspire, you can just dump in there. I don't know if I have any in here. Usually I have the Scooby-Doo one because I found the Scooby-Doo one on Place Value that I absolutely love. And I don't know if it's in here. Oh, look, it is. I've already actually dumped it in here. And so I was going to upload that, and I actually already have it in here in my lessons. Give me a place value. It's really fun. And so you can play that here. You can preview it over here. You can also import flip charts. But the great thing about, or smart notebooks, sorry. The great thing about importing your flip chart is that you can import anything into a flip chart. You can do PowerPoint into a flip chart. You can do your PDF, you know, things like that. And so that's just the basics on how to create lessons. So a lot of us already have flip charts and lessons created, and so we don't have to create lessons. You also have your community that people share to. Oh, which Wendy, I meant to share that with you. I will. And so, like, let's say I'm doing the ecosystem. And so here's one that's already been created by someone, and it's a pretty cool one. Let's see, we saw one on imagery. And there's copies there. What about lit devices? I wonder if there's any of those in there. Oh, there's fractions and input devices. So let's see what else we have for fractions. So these are ones that have already been created, and the more people use it and the more they create and they will share. This is an example of one that's hyperlinked, and so you can send hyperlinks out there and the kids can go to those websites. It's great for maximizing class time, for student engagement. The last thing I want to show you is the classes. So I set up one class, and you can set your roster up. And so when students log in, they'll choose their name. And you would just do this by going back to classes and just clicking the plus button, which would create a class. And second period, it's an English class, and so I fill all this out. I would save it. A default for end date is a year later, and then I can add my students. Oops. Save. Here's my new class. And we got stuck just a little bit. Here we go. Here's my new class. Oh, I accidentally cut it. Here's my second period, and here's my roster. And from here, I can also deliver lessons. So if you want to choose the class first and then the lesson second, you can do that as well. Here's your class code. Like I said, it will be the same. I encourage you to start and just jump in that if you need to contact me. And I would love to come and model a lesson for you if you're a Greater Clark employee or one of our other e-coaches. And let's see if I can get this back on. Stop screen share. There I am. So hopefully this has been seamless. This is like my third hangout, so I'm getting pretty good at it, not gonna lie. Thank you so much for joining us for ClassFlow, and I look forward to doing more. Thanks.